Now, in the megalithic period, we had covered the megalithic economy. Now we need to talk about their society and settlement pattern. We need to talk about their political organization, their religious beliefs and practices, and finally, how the megalithic age was the foundational phase for the historical period, right? So, how was it the preparatory phase for the Sangam age? And once we have covered all of this, we are going to plot the map, right? तो मैप में प्रिपेयर करके लाया हूं. ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स, यू वुड बी getting the map on your portal shortly. Map पे sites already plotted हैं. So there are 16-17 sites map पे plotted हैं already. So we'll be focusing upon the descriptions mostly. ठीक है? तो इकोनॉमी हमने डिस्कस कर लिया है. नेक्स्ट, द सोसाइटी एंड सेटलमेंट पैटर्न. Society and settlement pattern. First of all, society. क्या पता है हमको? What kind of a society was it? A tribal society. Now, essential characteristics of a tribal society हमने last time discuss किए थे. क्या? Lineage based, egalitarian, and the institution of chiefdom. However, to call the megalithic society of South India a tribal society through and through would be misleading. Why? Because a number of social transformations were going on, right? क्या major social transformation हो रहा था? Because of the beginning of agriculture, the tribal societies, the tribal communities began generating a surplus. However, this surplus was not evenly divided. It was unequally divided. And given the institution of chiefdom, generally होता क्या था? That the chiefs commanded the entire resources of the community. while the concept of a lineage-based society remained intact, the egalitarian nature of the society was degraded with time, and the society became highly stratified. Right? So social stratification became distinctly visible within the megalithic society. इसका कोई एविडेंस मिलता है हमको? Differences in the sizes of megalithic graves and the quantity and quality of grave goods also. ठीक है? क्या देखने के लिए मिलेगा? The ruling class and the ordinary people are going to have very different types of graves and grave goods. Ruling class के graves कैसे होंगे? Large and elaborate. And grave goods in large numbers and of high value. और ordinary people के graves exactly opposite देखने के लिए मिलेगा. मतलब कि simple graves, not very elaborate, and lower number of less value goods are going to be buried along with them. क्या पता लगता है इससे? This indicates the presence of sharp differences in socio-economic status, and this itself is the basic characteristic of a stratified society. ठीक है? However, anthropology tells us a different story little bit. वो क्या बोलता है कि tribal societies are necessarily egalitarian, and therefore sharp socio-economic differences are not possible. In this scenario, how can we explain the presence of a large number of massive megalithic monuments with elaborate planning in which a lot of labor must have gone in, a lot of time must have been consumed, a number of valuable goods were placed in them. तो उसको कैसे explain करेंगे? Megalithic monuments have been explained as the result of a strong lineage based identity, the presence of a strong ancestor cult, and the emergence of a warrior cult or hero cult as a result of frequent and intense warfare that was happening among the different tribes during this period. ठीक है, तो इस बेसिस पे मेगालिथिक मॉन्यूमेंट्स को एंथ्रोपोलॉजी एक्सप्लेन करता है. ठीक है, सो देयर आर टू डिफरिंग व्यूज ऑन दिस. At the same time, some things we can say for certain, that Varna and caste did not play a prominent role in social organization. They were not part of the social institutions which defined the megalithic society. The position of women was relatively higher, and that tribal chiefs known as Perumakkan were considered to be essentially father figures by the members of their tribe or clan. Further, the megalithic society was probably regionally divided. और ये सब हम किसके बेसिस पे बोल सकते हैं? On the basis of early Sangam literature. Primarily the Tolkappiyam by Tolkappiyar. This is a work of Tamil grammar, but while giving the rules for Tamil grammar, it has also given a background for the emergence of the Sangam society and the Sangam culture. तो कुछ roots के बारे में बताया है in which these things emerge. ठीक है? For example, the regionally divided society has been described as consisting of 5 divisions, and the non-existence of Varna and caste. Position of women was also relatively higher as reflected in the details of the Tolkappiyam, and your Perumakkan का जो information है, that also comes from the Tolkappiyam only. ठीक है? So these are the important features of the 50 नहीं, मतलब कई सारे वर्क्स है संगम लिटरेचर के. द तोलकाप्पियम इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी द अर्लीस्ट अमंग देम. देखो 3 संगम्स हुए ऐसा तोलकाप्पियम खुद बोलता है, राइट. एंड तोलकाप्पियम सेज दैट इट वाज कंपोज्ड इन द सेकंड ऑफ दीज संगम्स. तो पहले वाले संगम के सारे वर्क्स लॉस्ट हो गए, सेकंड वाले संगम में केवल एक वर्क सरवाइव करता है, दैट इज द तोलकाप्पियम बाय तोलकाप्पियर. और बाकी जितना भी संगम लिटरेचर है दैट बिलोंग्स टू द थर्ड संगम. नाउ दिस इज अकॉर्डिंग टू द तमिल लेजेंड. मिथ है, रियलिटी में प्रोबेबली एक ही संगम असेंबली हुआ होगा, वहीं पे सारे वर्क्स कंपाइल किए गए होंगे. बट द तोलकाप्पियम वाज ऑफ एन अर्लियर डेट. ठीक है. नाउ ये तो हो गया features of the Sangam, megalithic society. Now the settlement pattern. Now, as compared to the earlier period, the Neolithic, Chalcolithic period, there was a marked difference in the settlement pattern of the megalithic age. What are we going to find? That larger settlements characterized as big villages emerged. The number of settlements also increased, and the location of settlements was also different as compared to the earlier Neolithic Chalcolithic period. Neolithic Chalcolithic period में ज्यादातर settlements कहाँ पे located होते थे? प्लेन एरिया, अपलैंड एरियाज में. ठीक है. तो प्लेटोज में, रिफ्ट वैलीज में, रॉकी आउटक्रॉप्स में, क्लिफ्स में, हिली रीजन्स में. अब मोस्ट ऑफ द सेटलमेंट्स आर गोइंग टू बी लोकेटेड वेयर? इन दी plains and river valleys. Now, the presence of larger settlements and larger number of settlements क्या indicate करता है? Higher population, right? And what was that change which triggered these changes in the settlement pattern? किसकी वजह से ये सारे चेंजेस हुए होंगे? पॉपुलेशन इंक्रीज हुआ तो क्यों हुआ? A large number of settlements began to be located in plains and river valleys. तो ऐसा क्यों हुआ? ट्रेड? नहीं. Because of a significant change in the subsistence pattern. पहले के लोग क्या नहीं करते थे? एग्रीकल्चर नहीं करते थे, अब एग्रीकल्चर करने लग गए. And the growth of agriculture was aided by an important technological development. क्या? ग्रोथ ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर. इस पीरियड को क्या बोलते हैं साउथ इंडिया के कॉन्टेक्स्ट में? द आयरन एज. सो द यूज ऑफ iron cannot be de-linked from changes in the settlement pattern. ठीक है. Now, that agriculture made or played an important role in determining the locational geography of megalithic sites is also proven by the distribution of settlement sites and burial sites. मोस्ट ऑफ द सेटलमेंट साइट्स हमको कहां पे देखने के लिए मिलती हैं? ऑन रिवर बैंक्स, while most of the burial sites are going to be found away from the river banks, in rocky, hilly, arid or forested regions. Rocky, hilly, arid or forested regions. Was this distribution accidental or was it deliberate? Deliberate था. क्यों? Why all the settlement sites on river banks and why all the burial sites away from river banks? River banks में ऐसी क्या खूबी होती है? The area just adjacent to the rivers are always going to be more fertile, more suitable to agriculture, right? ठीक है, तो एग्रीकल्चरल लैंड को ऑप्टिमली यूटिलाइज करने के लिए दिस डेलिबरेट चॉइस वाज मेड. In fact, the distribution of settlement sites and burial sites और उसके बीच में जो mismatch है, that also indicates the practice of village transhumance. That means the periodic movement of residents of the village from one place to the other. And this also gives us another important insight into the megalithic economic pattern. क्या पता लगता है? That while agriculture was an important source of subsistence, so was pastoralism. And pastoralism में cattle rearing was the most important. So अगर pastoralism और एग्रीकल्चर दोनों चल रहा है, तो इसका मतलब मिक्स्ड फार्मिंग इज बीइंग फॉलोड. ठीक है, और ये जो मिक्स्ड फार्मिंग है, ये किस तरह के कम्युनिटीज का कैरेक्टरिस्टिक होता है? नोमैडिक कम्युनिटीज और सेटल्ड कम्युनिटीज. सेटल्ड कम्युनिटीज. सो वन अदर थिंग about the settlement pattern was the emergence of settled village life. And this settled village life is indicated firstly by the presence of mixed agriculture, secondly by the prevalence of various a variety of crafts traditions. क्योंकि जब sufficient surplus होगा तभी ये possible है. Thirdly, by the construction of large megalithic monuments close to the main settlements, right? So that means that these people must have been living at the same place for substantial lengths of time to be able to invest the time and labor that is necessary to construct such large monuments. उसके बिना possible नहीं होता, ठीक है? Now, what can we learn about the houses? यहाँ पे हमको प्रॉब्लम्स होती हैं. Why? Because very few megalithic settlements have been discovered. And from those settlements which have actually been discovered, क्या मिला है? Houses with mud walls, thatched roofs, supported by wooden support beams. Some houses were larger while others were smaller. Some were well constructed while others were poorly constructed. So there were differences in size and quality of construction. The walls were plastered with dung and lime, while the floors were covered with terracotta tiles. ठीक है? तो ये हमको देखने के लिए मिलता है from the types of houses. Clear? And these are all the important features of megalithic society and settlement pattern. तो क्या क्या देखा है हमने? While it was a tribal society, large scale social transformation was going on because of the beginning of agriculture, the generation of a large surplus which was unequally divided, resulting in the emergence of social stratas, right? Social classes. This is indicated by the differences in the size and the differences in the quality and quantity of grave goods. जो रूलिंग क्लास है उनकी ग्रेव्स बड़ी होंगी, इलैबोरेट होंगी, उसमें बहुत सारे हाई वैल्यू आइटम्स होंगे, और ऑर्डिनरी पीपल के छोटे सिंपल ग्रेव्स होंगे विद लोअर वैल्यू आइटम्स. However, on the basis of anthropology, the argument has been made that tribal societies are necessarily egalitarian. तो ये जो element of inequality है, that must not have been as pronounced as indicated earlier, right? So sharp socio-economic differences are not possible. Now, one weakness with this argument is कि अगर ये sharp socio-economic differences नहीं है, So how can we explain the construction of large megalithic monuments? So that has also been explained on the basis of anthropology. It was argued that the megalithic communities had a strong lineage-based identity, and thus they had the tendency to propitiate their own ancestors, right? A strong ancestor cult emerged, and because of the intense warfare which characterized this period, warrior or hero cult had emerged, right? And that is what we know. तो दो explanations दिए गए हैं. Some other features of the society we can say with surety on the basis of later literary evidence, specifically the Tolkappiyam of Tolkappiyar, is that it was not divided on the basis of Varna or caste. The position of women was relatively, Varna and caste South India में नहीं था, बाद में आया, ठीक है. तो towards the later portion of the Sangam age it appeared. Tolkappiyam mentions this himself. Position of women was relatively higher. Tribal chiefs enjoyed an exalted status. They were looked at as father figures by the members of their community, and the society was regionally divided into 5 divisions. The settlement pattern also changed considerably as compared to the earlier Neolithic Chalcolithic phase, with larger settlements in the shape of big villages emerging. Number of settlements also increased, and the location of settlements was also changed. अब कहाँ पे होने लग गए? प्लेन्स और रिवर वैलीज में. पहले रॉकी आउटक्रॉप्स रिफ्ट वैलीज में होते थे, प्लेटोज में, हिली एरियाज में होते थे. नाउ इन द प्लेन्स और रिवर वैलीज. दिस इंडिकेट्स अ सिग्निफिकेंट राइज इन पॉपुलेशन, जिसमें एग्रीकल्चर का एक इंपॉर्टेंट रोल था. And the growth and emergence of agriculture was itself facilitated by technological advances, namely the beginning of the use of iron. The distribution of settlement sites and burial sites also gives us useful insights into the nature of the settlement patterns, right? तो settlement sites कहाँ पे मिलते हैं? On river banks. Burial sites away from river banks in unproductive regions. This indicates the importance of agricultural land. At the same time, the differences in the settlement sites and burial sites, location of settlement and burial sites, also gives evidence of village transhumance, which itself indicates pastoralism, namely cattle rearing. So the economy was characterized by a mixture of cattle pastoralism and agriculture. Thus, it was a mixed farming based economy. Further, evidence of settled life is in the form of the practice of mixed agriculture, the existence of a variety of craft traditions, the presence of a large number of monolithic monuments, right? And as far as the houses are concerned, हमारे पास कुछ limitations हैं. Very few megalithic settlements have been discovered, and of the few that have been discovered, वहां पे किस तरह के houses मिले हैं? Mud walls with thatched roofs and wooden support beams have been found. Walls were plastered with dung and lime. Floors were lined with terracotta tiles. At the same time, the element of social differentiation is also reflected in the size and quality difference of the houses. तो कुछ houses बड़े हैं, better quality के हैं, कुछ houses छोटे हैं, poorer quality के हैं, right? So once again, the argument for a stratified society becomes stronger. Clear? इसको लिखवाने की जरूरत है अलग से? नोट्स थोड़े से दे दें या आगे बढ़े? हैंड आउट दूंगा मैं, उसमें होगा ये सब. हाँ, तो उसमें से ले लेंगे. ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स, शैल वी मूव अहेड? रिलीजन के बारे में डिस्कस करें. ठीक है. नाउ about their religious beliefs and practices. What are the kinds of inferences that can be drawn from the evidence available? क्या वर्शिप करते थे? Their ancestors primarily. ठीक है, तो ancestor worship or a strong cult of the dead was a prominent feature of the megalithic religion. कैसे पता लगता है हमें that there was a strong cult of ancestor worship or cult of the dead? अरे strongest evidence इसको support करने के लिए क्या है? The presence of large elaborate megalithic burials. ठीक है, now that the people tried to appease their dead, win their favor and goodwill by constructing large and elaborate tombs for them, which they regularly visited, which were probably the sites of important feasts where festivals were celebrated, in which it was almost as if the ancestors themselves are participating and blessing the living. तो ये क्या सब सजेस्ट करता है? That there was a strong sense of ancestor worship. Another prominent feature of the megalithic ancestor worship or cult of the dead was belief in the concept of life after death. ठीक है, how do we get to know this? कैसे लाइफ आफ्टर डेथ में बिलीव करते थे, ये कैसे पता लगता है? बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेजेंस ऑफ a large variety of grave goods, grave furniture. Grave goods included things such as tools, weapons, ornaments, food stuff, and clothing, utensils, etc. And and these are items of daily use. Right? And being items of daily use, what was the purpose of burying them along with the dead? So that the dead may use them in the afterlife. ठीक है, another strong evidence which proves that a strong ancestor worship cult existed was that after construction, these megalithic burial sites were not abandoned. The grave sites show signs that they were visited frequently. कैसे पता है कि that they were visited frequently? Because of the debris that has been left behind from these frequent visits. For example, on the basis of the discovery of a large number of animal bones scattered around these grave sites, क्या पता लगता है हमें? That these were probably sites where feasts and festivals were organized. Secondly, they were also repaired and enlarged frequently, right? So different generations made their own contributions. एक जनरेशन मान लो स्टोन सर्किल लगाता है, एक जनरेशन उसके ऊपर टॉपिकल या फिर केन बनाता है. Maybe some new graves are excavated into the same site so that the later generations can remain with their earlier generations even after death. ठीक है? So they were repaired and enlarged frequently. And another way in which the importance of the cult of the dead can be proved is by the erection of मेमोरियल स्टोन्स. ठीक है? तो कई जगहों पर मेनहीर्स को इरेक्ट किया गया है, अलाइनमेंट्स, एवेन्यूज हैव बीन मेड, but no graves are found, right? And Sangam literature, which coincides with the later end portion of the megalithic age, also talks about the different ways in which dead are disposed. तो वहां पे एक तरीका बताता है to erect virakkals, natukkals and mastikkals. All of these are different varieties of memorial stones. Warriors के लिए, chiefs के लिए, etc. ठीक है? Another way in which the existence of a strong cult of ancestor worship can be proved is the location of some graves or monuments, megalithic monuments, in fertile tracts or in or close to the agricultural land. Now, this was not a widespread practice. कुछ communities ऐसा करती थी. Few examples have been found. Why was this? Because gradually the importance of agriculture continued to increase with time, right? And जैसे जैसे ये agriculture का इंपॉर्टेंस बढ़ता गया, वैसे वैसे एक फर्टिलिटी कल्ट इमर्ज होता गया. नाउ ऑलरेडी अ स्ट्रॉन्ग कल्ट ऑफ एंसेस्टर वर्शिप एग्जिस्टेड, तो फर्टिलिटी को इंप्रूव करने के लिए किसका फेवर चाहेंगे? अपने एंसेस्टर्स का. सो द एंसेस्टर कल्ट वाज linked with the emergence of a strong fertility cult. ठीक है. And the presence of the fertility of a strong fertility cult is the second feature of the megalithic religion. Now, one of the prominent practices associated with the fertility cult, हमने पहले भी डिस्कस किया है, क्या होता है? Sacrifice, right? So sacrifices were made on a regular basis to ancestors in order to win their favor. What was sacrificed? Animals, both domesticated and wild, and grains. How do we know that grains were sacrificed also? Because ये intact नहीं मिले हैं, rather क्या मिला है? Charred grains have been found. ठीक है. तो इसका मतलब कि यहाँ पे इन ग्रेन्स को जलाया गया होगा, राइट? सो this indicates the presence of a strong cult of sacrifice and fertility cult. And fertility cult is a prominent feature of which kinds of communities? Agrarian communities or pastoral communities? Agrarian communities. उन्हीं को fertility की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत होती है, right? तो the fertility cult can be attributed to the emergence of agriculture as a major occupation. Secondly, some fertility symbols also became prominent. Now, one symbol of fertility which was universally used across India for thousands of years, ये प्री हरप्पन पीरियड से चल रहा था. हरप्पन में भी बहुत प्रोमिनेंट था, उसके बाद कैलकोलिथिक कम्युनिटीज में भी काफी प्रोमिनेंट रहा. व्हाट वाज दैट? द कल्ट ऑफ द मदर गॉडेस. ठीक है. Then fertility cult के साथ often some sexual imagery is also associated, right? तो generally fertility cult का एक symbol होता है male and female reproductive, secondary reproductive organs, right? Such as the linga and yoni worship. Sometimes animals are also associated with the fertility cult, right? And जनरली एग्रीकल्चर के साथ किस एनिमल को एसोसिएट किया जाता है? बुल. तो bull motif was also quite frequently used, and images of or statues or sculptures of bull with a garland around its neck featured prominently at various megalithic burial sites. Okay? This leads us to the third prominent feature of the megalithic religion, that is animism. What are the indications that animism was in vogue? क्या एविडेंस मिलता है हमें? The presence of a large number of animal bones in the megalithic burial sites. So ये जो एनिमल बोन्स हैं वो किस फॉर्म में मिलते हैं? कई जगहों पे फुल स्केलेटन मिलता है, कई जगहों पे पार्शियल रिमेन्स मिलते हैं. तो both full remains and partial remains are found. Now, what is the significance of full remains of animals? एक एनिमल को सैक्रिफाइस किया, मारा, एंड पूरे के पूरे एनिमल को दफना दिया. तो ये किसके लिए है? फॉर द डेड. ठीक है. तो दे प्रोबेबली फंक्शनड एज कंपेनियंस ऑफ द डेड. और अगर पार्शियल रिमेन्स मिल रहे हैं तो व्हाट डज दैट इंडिकेट? क्या पता लगता है? दैट पहले इसके कुछ पोर्शन को खाया गया होगा एंड वन पार्ट हैज बीन लेफ्ट फॉर द डेड. सो दे वर पार्ट ऑफ अ sacrificial ritual. इमोशंस थे. कैसे पता लगता है इमोशंस थे? कि देखो जहां पे फुल रिमेन्स मिले हैं, these animals were supposed to be companions for the dead after they had died. It also indicates that there was belief in the possibility of animals to have a life after death. और लाइफ आफ्टर डेथ किसके लिए पॉसिबल होता है? बीइंग्स विद सोल. So this also indicates the belief that animals had a soul as well. ठीक है. And this belief is the very foundational kernel, foundational seed of animism. another piece of evidence which reflects the strong connection that the megalithic people had with their animals comes from megalithic rock paintings. What do we find? A large number of scenes involving animals, including hunting scenes, cattle raids, herding scenes, agricultural life, जिनमें एनिमल्स काफी प्रोमिनेंटली फीचर करते थे, राइट, स्पेशली दी बुल, हॉर्स राइडर्स going on a raid as part of a war party, right? So all of this also indicates the close association shared by the megalithic people with animals. They were quite invested in their surroundings. Okay? So these are the important features of the megalithic religion. क्या क्या देखा है हमने? Ancestor cult और cult of the dead, fertility cult and animism. ठीक है, तो ये हो गया religion. Next, what do we have to see? The political organization. Notes में political organization and structure. Now, Sangam literature talks about the presence of a large number of tribal chiefs known as Perumakkan, right? So the nature of polity, tribal in nature, right? ट्राइबल पॉलिटी में हमें क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है? That egalitarian system generally exists, that political identity depends upon belonging to a particular clan or lineage. Lineage based polity. So members of a particular clan or lineage are considered to be members of a particular tribal state. And thirdly, that the office of the tribal chief is the common link between all members of the tribe. So it is the most prominent political institution ठीक है. Now, is this pattern borne out by the archaeological remains or not? The importance of the chief, the presence of a strong sense of ट्राइबल लिनिएज, ये सारा का सारा जो आर्कियोलॉजी है उससे पता लगता है, रिफ्लेक्ट होता है उसमें या नहीं होता है? होता है, राइट. कहां पर? इन द फॉर्म ऑफ मेगालिथिक बेरियल्स. तो some large elaborate burials probably belong to tribal chiefs. On the other hand, there are some simple burials. Some of the dead bodies were buried in simple pit burials or urn burials. So these were probably the burials of the ordinary people. Secondly, the large elaborate burials must have required a large amount of resources, manpower and time. And this could not be possible without some degree of political organization and control. So, mobilization of resources, time and manpower at a large scale required some type of political control and organization. And ये सारी चीजें कौन ऑर्गेनाइज और कंट्रोल कर रहा था? Probably the tribal chiefs. So tribal chiefs were in a position to exercise a large degree of control and authority. And what does this indicate? That political transformation was going on. The earliest state was a lineage-based state, but gradually it was being transformed into a state-based polity. और लिनिएज बेस्ड स्टेट में कुछ फीचर्स होते हैं। क्या क्या होता है? दैट मेंबरशिप डिपेंड्स ऑन lineage identity. So everybody who claims to be descended or who is accepted as a descendant of the same common ancestor is automatically given membership into the political community of any lineage based polity. Secondly, अब हर कोई अगर इस पॉलिटिकल स्ट्रक्चर का पार्ट है तो पॉलिटिकल डिविजन्स बहुत स्टार्क होंगे या कम होंगे? कम होंगे, मतलब डिफरेंसेस जो क्लासेस हैं दे आर गोइंग टू बी फ्लैटर, राइट? सो लोअर लेवल ऑफ पॉलिटिकल डिफरेंशिएशन. Thirdly, such states generally lack a strong territorial awareness. ठीक है? So the concept of territory is underdeveloped. एंड ये लिनिएज बेस्ड स्टेट किस तरह के इकोनॉमिक सेटअप में देखने के लिए मिलते हैं ज्यादातर? इन एन अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी और अ प्री अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी? प्री अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी, क्योंकि अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी अगर हो जाएगा तो फर्टाइल लैंड के लिए लड़ाई होने लग जाएगी, तो कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ टेरिटरी इज गोइंग टू डेवलप. लेकिन प्री अग्रेरियन इकोनॉमी में क्योंकि लैंड इज नॉट वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट एज एन इकोनॉमिक रिसोर्स, therefore they tend to create lineage based polities. One major change in the megalithic age क्या हुआ? The emergence of agriculture as the mainstay of the economy, and therefore the state began to transform from the lineage based polity into a state society. स्टेट सोसाइटी में मेंबरशिप किस चीज पे डिपेंड करेगी? ऑन रीजन ऑफ ऑक्यूपेशन. ठीक है? तो एक रीजन में जितने भी लोग रह रहे होंगे they are automatically going to be considered as part of that region's polity, and they are going to be distinct from those living in another polity. ठीक है? तो regional basis of political organization began slowly eclipsing the lineage identity. तो regional identity started gaining prominence. ठीक है? However, ये ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन जो हो रहा था ये पूरा नहीं हुआ था. ठीक है? Therefore, lineage also played an important role. ठीक है? तो जो रूलिंग क्लास होगा that is necessarily going to be smaller in size, and with the emergence of state society होगा क्या? that land के लिए conflict बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ जाएगा. So the stronger tribes are going to be able to subjugate the weaker tribes और उनके ऊपर अपना control establish कर लेंगे. तो in this scenario, are all the people living in a particular region going to be considered to have the same political status? नहीं. तो जो member of the dominant tribes हैं, उनका political status higher होगा as compared to the members of the subjugated tribes, right? And this is going to lead to the emergence of political differentiation as well. ठीक है? With a distinct ruling class emerging with the ability to mobilize resources at a large scale, with the ability to centralize revenue, channelize the surplus into their own hands. ठीक है? अच्छा. And as a result of the emergence of state society in the backdrop of an agrarian setup, what is going to happen? Territorial conflicts are going to increase. ठीक है? Now, at the level of the ordinary population, so they were interacting with each other on the basis of a need based trade network. तो जिस भी चीज की जरूरत होती थी उस पे ट्रेड करते थे. लेकिन चीफ्स के लेवल पर रिलेशनशिप कैसा होता था? Competitive and combative in nature, right? And this resulted in frequent wars. अब इन frequent wars के कुछ results होंगे क्या? That some of the chiefs are going to be subjugated by the stronger ones and big chiefs are going to emerge. और इन big chiefs को संगम लिटरेचर क्या बोलता है? पेरुमक्कन. Secondly, a large number of chiefs and other prominent warriors are also going to be killed. Right? And इसकी वजह से होगा क्या? अच्छा, how have they been killed? In warfare. और वॉर में क्या कर रहे थे? या तो ये अपने लोगों के कंडीशंस को इंप्रूव करने के लिए लड़ रहे थे. Either they were predating on another neighboring tribe or they were defending their tribe, right? So because of this, they are going to be seen as protectors. तो जो warrior cult है, that is going to become stronger and stronger. And this strong warrior cult in association with the strong lineage-based background, strong sense of ancestor worship is going to result in the construction of large megalithic monuments as well. ठीक है? Now this process of conflict is going to continue, right? Finally resulting in the emergence of a full-fledged state society. But that is going to happen during the Sangam period. Full-fledged state society emerged with the emergence of three Sangam polities. कौन से? The Cheras, Cholas and Pandyas. And these were not ordinary chiefdoms, these were kingdoms. So during the Chola period, during the Sangam period, with the emergence of a full-fledged state society, the institution of centralized monarchy was firmly in place. And there was a clear distinction between the status of the ruling class, constituting the king and the members of his immediate family, and the ordinary subjects. Okay? So political differentiation was even higher as compared to the earlier period. Okay? And this is the kind of political transformation that took place during the Megalithic period. क्या देखा है हमने? From the early beginnings of a tribal polity, transformation towards a full-fledged state society by the Sangam period. Clear? तो क्या क्या कवर हो गया हमारा? सोसाइटी, रिलीजन, पॉलिटी. अब क्या बचता है? How the Megalithic age was the preparatory phase for Sangam period. Take down a question. In what ways did the Megalithic age of South India lay the foundations of the Sangam age or Sangam age civilization? Question mark. 200 words, 15 marks. तो बताइए जी, कैसे इसको शुरू कर सकते हैं? Online students, I want you to participate as well. I'm asking कि इंट्रोड्यूस कैसे करना चाहिए इसको? हम सीधे ये बोल सकते हैं इंट्रोडक्शन में that the megalithic age of South India from 1200 BCE to 100 CE was the penultimate stage before the emergence of the Sangam civilization. (300 BCE to 300 CE), and many of the characteristics of the Sangam age had their roots in the Megalithic age. Right. सुदीप बोलते हैं Sangam age was the historic period of South India which emerged from the bedrock set by prehistoric megalithic age. Very good. आप थे एकदम. Well done. Right. अब हमको क्या करना है मेन बॉडी में? We need to explore these roots. ठीक है. कौन कौन से एस्पेक्ट्स कंसिडर कर सकते हैं हम? इकोनॉमी, पॉलिटी, सोसाइटी, रिलीजन, एटसेट्रा. राइट. तो इन पैरामीटर्स में हम कंपैरिजन कर सकते हैं. हाँ, 200 वर्ड्स. बिल्कुल मेन पॉइंट्स क्या आप लिखोगे? बहुत शॉर्ट में ही आपको डील करना पड़ेगा. राइट. इकोनॉमी में हमें अवेयरनेस होना चाहिए पहले तो कि संगम पीरियड के क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं. बताओ क्या कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स हैं? हाईली डेवलप्ड एग्रीकल्चर और अ रिच क्राफ्ट्स ट्रेडिशन, एक्सटेंसिव ट्रेड और द फर्स्ट संगम एज में फर्स्ट अर्बनाइजेशन, ये पल्लवा और चोला एज में सेकेंड अर्बनाइजेशन साउथ इंडिया का. राइट. तो संगम एज के इकोनॉमिक कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स प्राइमरीली ये हैं. कैन वी डिस्कवर द रूट्स ऑफ दीज इन द मेगालिथिक एज? मेगालिथिक एज में क्या हुआ? द बिगिनिंग ऑफ agriculture on a large scale with the assistance of iron technology. ठीक है. What else? A remarkable growth in population resulting in the emergence of large villages, which represented the penultimate stage before urbanization. The generation of a large surplus, which became the basis for secondary economic activities, including craft production of different varieties as well as trade and कॉमर्स. ठीक है, तो ये अवेयरनेस आपको होना चाहिए. फ्रेम आप इस तरह से नहीं करेंगे क्योंकि बहुत लंबा लग जाएगा, ज्यादा स्पेस लग जाएगा. तो किस तरह से फ्रेम कर सकते हैं? The Sangam age, characterized by flourishing agriculture, rich crafts tradition, extensive trade, and the first urbanization, was ushered in by the megalithic economy, characterized by the beginning of agriculture on a large scale with the help of iron implements, resulting in the enlargement of the population and generation of a surplus, which led to the creation of large villages, emergence of large villages, and proliferation of secondary economic activities, including craft production and trade on a substantial scale. Thus, the Sangam age economy was presaged by the megalithic economy. सेम चीज हमको पॉलिटी के लिए करनी है. पॉलिटी में हम क्या बताएंगे? संगम एज में द प्रेजेंस ऑफ 3 large kingdoms. What was the nature of the political relationship between these kingdoms? कोऑपरेट कर रहे थे या compete कर रहे थे? compete कर रहे थे. All these kingdoms were characterized by the presence of an institutional monarchy, centralized monarchy, and there were sharp political differences. Can we see the echoes of these political features in the megalithic age? क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है? Political transformation, through a process of resource generation and capture, leading to the emergence of big chiefs who tried to centralize and expand their power. So this is reflected in the construction of large monuments and extensive warfare. So the political transformation that was happening during the megalithic age reached its final stage during the Sangam age. Okay? That is what we need to write. सोसाइटी में संगम सोसाइटी characterized by what? Twofold Varna system, the presence of various castes, और क्या? Regional division of the society due to or characterized by 5 divisions. What else? The declining position of women, characterized by the emergence of cults such as the Kannagi cult, Sati practice, Tippadiyal, etc. Right? ये सब चीज देखने के लिए मिलता है. And that means there was a strong sense of social stratification. ठीक है? मेगालिथिक एज में क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है? स्ट्रॉन्ग ट्राइबल और clan identity. This means that lineage and kinship were the primary basis for social organization. Varna and caste were not present. The position of women was relatively better, and this was because of their importance as or in the reproductive process. So large amount of labor was necessary. Women were reproducing. They were also providing valuable labor both in the fields as well as other areas. Further, while the society had an egalitarian basis, social differentiation had started to emerge, especially with the emergence of the concept of private property in the form of land and the unequal distribution of resources. So, social transformation that is generally seen with the emergence of an agrarian order was also visible. Egalitarianism towards differentiation. Now, on the surface, the megalithic society and the Sangam age society may appear to be radically different from each other, but one thing that must be kept in mind about the Sangam society is that during this period, the Aryan culture had also started making inroads into the southern society from North India. Okay? So many of the features which were characterizing the Sangam society were actually not natives to South India. ये बाहर से import हो रहे थे, north से import हो रहे थे. ठीक है? And upon further observation, it becomes clear that the other changes which or the other features which characterize the Sangam society, they have a solid basis in the later developments of the मेगालिथिक एज। तो यहां पे ही सोशल डिफरेंशिएशन ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन शुरू हो गया था, which was carried to its logical conclusion during the संगम एज। ठीक है, एक एक्सटर्नल इनपुट भी मिला, आर्यन कल्चर, which further informed the nature and structure of the Sangam age society. So this is what we have to write. Religion, culture, etc. Megalithic and संगम एज। क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है संगम एज में? The presence of a strong ancestor cult, the prevalence of hero worship, the prevalence of the warrior ethic or warrior code, the close association of the Sangam people with various animals. तो फॉर एग्जाम्पल चोलास का जो रॉयल एम्ब्लेम था, व्हाट वाज इट? द टाइगर। पांड्यास का द फिश, एटसेट्रा, राइट? फर्दर these animals continue to feature prominently in the form of cultic objects. So idols of bulls, etc., they continue to feature prominently. So animism continued, right? The erection of hero stones or memorial stones also continued. And during the later portion of the Sangam age, some northern religions and practices also became prominent, such as Brahmanism and Buddhism. ठीक है, Jainism भी, Brahmanism, Buddhism and Jainism. मेगालिथिक एज में क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है? ये मिलता है स्ट्रॉन्ग एंसेस्टर कल्ट, यस, हीरो वर्शिप, यस, वॉरियर एथिक, यस, एनिमिज्म, यस, हीरो स्टोन्स, मेमोरियल स्टोन्स, यस। तो बेसिक elements of Sangam religion are borrowed from the megalithic religion. Many of those practices continued. The only visible changes occur because of the encroachment of North Indian religious beliefs and practices into the deep south. ठीक है, हाँ, लास्ट वाला नहीं है, राइट? मेगालिथिक पीरियड में नहीं था. Therefore, we can say without any doubt that there is a strong correlation between Sangam religion and megalithic religion. तो रिलीजन भी हमने कवर कर लिया है. कंक्लूड हम किस नोट पे कर सकते हैं, बताओ? वही उसी सेंस पे करेंगे जो कि हमने मेन बॉडी में डिस्कशन किया हुआ है. That on the basis of the above discussion, it becomes clear that the Sangam age represented the culmination of various socio-economic, political, and religious developments that had started during the megalithic age itself. However, the Sangam age also exhibited a number of unique features which were not part of the megalithic culture. ठीक है, on that note we can conclude. Clear? Right. तो हो गया पूरा, सारे के सारे टॉपिक्स डिस्कस हो गए. ऑनलाइन स्टूडेंट्स, लास्ट अरे प्रिपरेटरी फेज ऑफ संगम एज यही तो है. हाँ, क्वेश्चन आंसर फॉर्म में हमने डिस्कस कर लिया इसको. शैल वी मूव अहेड विद द मैपिंग पोर्शन गाइस? मैप अपलोड हो गया है, बिल्कुल दिखाइए आज. चलिए लेट अस सी. मैप मिला है ना? तो इसमें जो साइट नंबर 1 है दैट इज हाँ मेगालिथिक. तो यहाँ पे आप हेडिंग दे सकते हो मेगालिथिक एज. साइट नंबर 1 इज बुर्जा होम. पहले सुना है नाम? इट इज ऑल्सो अ न्यूलिथिक साइट. ठीक है, कहां पर लोकेटेड है? जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. राइट. सो राइट अ फ्यू लाइन्स अबाउट बुर्जा होम. लोकेशन जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. हाँ, ये भी मेंशन कर सकते हो, लेकिन अगर मेगालिथिक साइट की तरह आता है ना, तो फर्स्ट गिव द इंफॉर्मेशन अबाउट द मेगालिथिक फेज, फिर उसके बाद आप मेंशन कर सकते हो कि यहाँ पे डॉग बेरियल, पिट बेरियल वगैरह मिला है, सॉरी पिट ड्वेलिंग वगैरह मिले हैं ड्यूरिंग द न्यूलिथिक फेज. ठीक है, नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो. लोकेशन लिख लिया, जम्मू एंड कश्मीर. नेक्स्ट, मेगालिथिक डिस्कवरीज इंक्लूड menhirs that are not associated with grave sites. तो menhirs तो मिले हैं लेकिन कोई graves नहीं मिली. तो ये किस तरह के मॉन्यूमेंट्स हैं? ग्रेव साइट्स के मार्कर्स हैं या फिर मेमोरियल्स हैं? मेमोरियल्स हैं, ग्रेव साइट्स नहीं मिले हैं. राइट. नॉट एसोसिएटेड विद एनी ग्रेव्स. Within brackets you can write memorials. दूसरा डिस्कवरी, तो पहला तो आपने देख लिया ना, ए मेनहीर्स. दूसरा वाला लिखो, ब्लैक बर्निश्ड वेयर पॉटरी. एंड रेड वेयर पॉटरी. किस तरह के पॉट्स हैं? हैंडमेड या व्हील मेड पॉट्स. राइट डाउन. पॉटरी वॉज व्हील मेड. हाँ, इसी पॉइंट. पॉटरी वॉज व्हील मेड एंड ऑफ कोर्स नेचर. COAR. तो रफ फैब्रिक है, फाइन नेचर नहीं है उसका. एंड ऑफ कोर्स नेचर, COARSE, कोर्स नेचर. राइट. न्यूलिथिक पीरियड में यहाँ पे क्या क्या मिला था? किस तरह के टूल्स मिले थे? hand axes, polished tools, cells were discovered. Right. So they are also going to be found in the megalithic context. So write down tools such as polished stone axes, polished stone axes, and bone tools continued from the earlier period. और अगर इतना इंफॉर्मेशन याद नहीं है तो यू कैन ऑल्सो राइट नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, लिखो, इट वॉज ऑल्सो अ प्रोमिनेंट नियोलिथिक साइट with unique discoveries such as pit dwellings, bone tools, and dog burials. Pit dwellings, bone tools, and dog burials. तो 30-40 वर्ड्स में आपको इसका डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखना होता है. दिस इज मोर देन सफिशिएंट. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, ये नंबर 2, दिस इज द साइट ऑफ काकोरिया. काकोरिया. सबसे पहले लोकेशन लिखो, वाराणसी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, यूपी. कोई मेगालिथिक मॉन्यूमेंट्स मिलते हैं यहाँ पे? यस, तभी मेगालिथिक बोल रहे हैं इसको, राइट? लिखो, मेगालिथिक सिस्ट्स एंड पिट बेरियल्स, सिस्ट्स एंड पिट बेरियल्स along with cairn circles, cairn circles, CIRN, याद है ना? केर्न्स बताए थे कल, तो एक स्टोन का एक के ऊपर एक रख के टावर बना देते हैं. केर्न सर्कल्स were discovered. Next, ill-fired pottery or poorly fired pottery, ill-fired pottery including redware and BRW, were found. ठीक है. नाउ जो यूपी के मेगालिथिक साइट्स हैं, ज्यादातर वहां पे आयरन यूज नहीं होता था. ठीक है. सो राइट डाउन नेक्स्ट पॉइंट, इट इज अ प्री आयरन एज साइट. इट इज अ प्री आयरन एज साइट. तो ग्रेव्स में क्या मिला है? beads and microliths have been found. So the tool acculturation is consistent with the Mesolithic age. तो आपको ध्यान होगा कि इस जगह पे Mesolithic के कई सारी साइट्स मिलती हैं, तो उनके probably contemporaries थे. The unique thing about these cultures was that they were building megalithic burial monuments. ठीक है. So write down, grave goods include beads, pottery and microliths. Beads, pottery and microliths. ठीक है. ये हो गया काकोरिया. थर्ड वाला बनी मिलिया, बानहेरा. BANHERA, बनी मिलिया बानहेरा। लोकेशन मिर्जापुर यूपी। राइट, अब बताओ ये आयरन एज साइट होगा या प्री आयरन एज साइट? दिस इज ऑल्सो प्री आयरन एज साइट, सो लिखो प्री आयरन एज साइट। पॉटरी किस तरह का मिला है? वैसा ही जो काकोरिया में मिला है, इल फायर्ड ब्लैक एंड रेड वेयर एंड रेड वेयर। तो इल फायर्ड ब्लैक एंड रेड वेयर एंड रेड वेयर पॉटरी। ठीक है, नाउ वी डू हैव सम मेगालिथिक मॉन्यूमेंट्स सच एज मेनहीर्स एंड केर्न सर्कल्स, लेकिन कोई ग्रेव्स नहीं मिले हैं, तो दीज वर प्रॉब्ली मेमोरियल मॉन्यूमेंट्स। राइट डाउन मेमोरियल menhirs and cairn circles without graves। और काकोरिया में ग्रेव गुड्स में क्या क्या मिला था? पॉटरी, बीड्स और माइक्रोलिथ्स। यहां पे क्या मिला है? ओनली पॉटरी। ठीक है, बीड्स माइक्रोलिथ्स नहीं मिले। सो राइट डाउन ओनली पॉटरी फाउंड एज ग्रेव गुड्स। ये नेक्स्ट साइट इन नंबर 4 जो दिख रहा है, दिस इज कोटिया। कोटिया लोकेशन प्रयागराज डिस्ट्रिक्ट, इलाहाबाद। प्रयागराज डिस्ट्रिक्ट, यूपी। ठीक है, now the date of this site is a little later as compared to the dates of the surrounding sites. It belongs to around 400 BC। ठीक है, तो अब बताओ is this an iron age site or a pre iron age site? आयरन एज साइट। लेटर वैदिक पीरियड तक आयरन का यूज यहाँ पे होना शुरू हो गया था। सो राइट डाउन इट बिलोंग्स टू roughly 400 BC and is an iron age site। Right? Next sub point, sorry, next point, यहाँ पे जो पॉटरी है वो भी बाकियों जैसा होगा या फिर थोड़ा अलग होगा? अलग होगा। लिखो ब्लैक एंड रेड वेयर and gray ware pottery has been discovered। next point, megalithic grave sites including dolmenized cysts, cyst circles or cyst stone circles, dolmen cysts, comma, cyst stone circles and cyst cairn circles have been found। सिस्ट स्टोन सर्कल और सिस्ट केयर सर्कल। समझ में आ रहा है ना कि एक वो कब्र बनाई हुई है, सिस्ट जो डॉल्मेनाइज सिस्ट है उसको बोल रहे हैं। कुछ केवल सिस्ट हैं, उनको किसी तरह से मेमोरियलाइज नहीं किया गया है, और कुछ के ऊपर केन लगा दिया गया है, कुछ के अराउंड स्टोन सर्कल्स अरेंज कर दिए गए हैं, राइट। तो दे हैव बीन डिस्कवर्ड। अच्छा, नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो। सम ग्रेव्स have multiple chambers, have multiple chambers. Next point लिखो। Remains of domesticated animals are found alongside graves. The remains of domesticated animals are found alongside graves. ठीक है, तो ये हो गया कोटिया साइट। नेक्स्ट जो झारखंड में दिख रहा है, नंबर 5, दिस इज कुंटी टोली, और सॉरी कुंती टोली, कुंती टोली। लोकेशन रांची डिस्ट्रिक्ट, झारखंड। तो यहाँ पे क्या दिखता है हमको, मल्टी लेयर्ड पिट हैज बीन फाउंड। तो यानी कि यहाँ पे जो ग्रेव्स हैं वो इस तरह से बनाए गए हैं। एक बड़ा पिट बनाया गया है, उसके अंदर और छोटे छोटे पिट्स बनाए गए हैं। सो राइट डाउन, पिट्स विद इन पिट्स, पिट्स विद इन पिट्स वर डिस्कवर्ड with the entire pit being covered with earth, ठीक है, and finally marked with a capstone. Next point, grave objects, grave goods include pottery and ornaments. Pottery and ornaments. तो ये हो गया कुंती टोली। नेक्स्ट, ये जो मेघालय में दिख रहा है, नंबर 6, दिस इज नारीतंग। NARITANG। लोकेशन जैंतिया हिल्स डिस्ट्रिक्ट, जैंतिया हिल्स, गारो खासी जैंतिया 3 हिल्स नहीं है मेघालय में, जैंतिया हिल्स डिस्ट्रिक्ट, मेघालय। नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो। A large number of menhirs and dolmens have been found next point, unique characteristics include A and B. A, massive size of monoliths, size of monoliths measuring around 8 meters and weighing several tons. अब B, several tons. अब B, highly sculpted surface of megalithic memorials. ठीक है, ये हो गया नरितंग. Coming to the next one, number 7. ये है जूना पानी. कहां पर? नागपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट. लोकेशन नागपुर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, महाराष्ट्र. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. Cairn circles and dolmen cairns are found. Next, grave goods include redware pottery, and BRW pottery, black and redware pottery. Subpoint, iron tools, spears, arrowheads, knives, daggers, and chisels. Next subpoint, a small quantity of copper objects and a few gold-plated objects are also found. And a few gold-plated objects are also found. ठीक है, तो ये हो गया अपना जूना पानी. नेक्स्ट, नंबर 8. नायकुंड. लोकेशन विदर्भा रीजन, महाराष्ट्र. Now, this is a unique site. क्यों? It is a habitation cum burial site. ठीक है, so write down habitation cum burial site. Next, megalithic monuments include stone circles, Next point. Grave goods include copper and iron objects such as hammers, chisels, axes, hoes, sickles, etc. Next subpoint. Iron slag has also been discovered. और अगर स्लैग मिला है तो इसका मतलब यहाँ पे आयरन मैन्युफैक्चर हो रहा था, इंडिकेटिंग द प्रैक्टिस ऑफ आयरन स्मेल्टिंग. Next, grains including barley, rice, and lentils have been discovered. ये हो गया नायकुंड साइट. सो इट वाज अ हैबिटेशन कम बेरियल साइट. यहाँ पे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग भी हो रहा था आयरन का, एंड एग्रीकल्चर सीम्स टू बी अ प्रोमिनेंट प्रैक्टिस. नेक्स्ट, नंबर 9. दिस इज महूर झरी. लोकेशन सदर्न मध्य प्रदेश. तो एक बार सर्च करना, एग्जैक्टली मुझे आइडिया नहीं है. महूर झरी, सदर्न मध्य प्रदेश. नेक्स्ट लिखो. It was a bead manufacturing site. कैसे पता कि बीड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग साइट है? क्योंकि यहाँ पे बीड्स को मैन्युफैक्चर करने के लिए टूल्स एज वेल एज रॉ मटेरियल दोनों मिला है. राइट. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो. स्टोन सर्किल बेरियल्स were found with a variety of grave goods, including ABC करके लिख लो. A, animal remains, including remains of a sacrificed horse. B, a large variety of beads and ornaments. C, cotton cloth. D, black and red ware pottery. BRW and red ware pottery. नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो. Some of the skeletons buried here carry deep wound marks. Carry deep wound marks. Deep wound marks, injury marks. तो ये नेचुरली मरे होंगे या फिर अननेचुरल डेथ था, वायलेंट डेथ? अननेचुरल वायलेंट डेथ. कौन मरता है अननेचुरल वायलेंट डेथ? सोल्जर्स, वॉरियर्स. इंडिकेटिंग indicating that they may have been warriors. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट, ये नंबर 10. दिस इज द साइट ऑफ ब्रह्मगिरी. लोकेशन चित्रदुर्गा डिस्ट्रिक्ट. चित्रदुर्गा डिस्ट्रिक्ट, कर्नाटका. Discoveries include A B C D करके लिखो. A, stone circles and cairn circles. Cairn circles. Cairn, C-I-R-N. Cairn circles. B, grave goods such as iron implements, including sickle, spear, sword, comma, beads, and pottery, including polished BRW, and coarse redware. ठीक है. तो ये इंपॉर्टेंट डिस्कवरीज मिली हैं. नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो. इट इज ऑल्सो द साइट ऑफ an Ashokan minor rock edict. An Ashokan minor rock edict. ठीक है. तो ये हो गया ब्रह्मगिरी. नेक्स्ट, नंबर 11. दिस इज मस्की. लोकेशन रायचूर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, कर्नाटका. न्यूलिथिक साइट भी है. इट इज ऑल्सो द साइट ऑफ आवर अशोकन माइनर रॉक एडिक्ट, वन ऑफ द 4 माइनर रॉक एडिक्ट जहां पे अशोका का नाम मेंशन हुआ है, राइट. बट मेगालिथिक वाला इंफॉर्मेशन पहले. राइट डाउन. 5 डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ बेरियल्स are found, among which pit burial was the most common. Among which pit burials were the most common. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो, commemorative menhirs, commemorative menhirs या memorial menhirs, memorial menhirs were also erected next point, iron implements and copper implements along with beads of gold and terracotta objects were found. Beads of gold and terracotta objects were found, indicating that it was a prominent manufacturing site. Indicating that it was a prominent manufacturing site. Next, next sentence. Remains of domesticated animals, including sheep, found in large quantities. Sheep found in large quantities. Next, minor rock edict of Ashoka containing his name. Minor rock edict of Ashok containing his name. ये हो गया Musky. This one, number 12. This is the site of Hallur. Location, Bagalkot district, Karnataka. Bagalkot, Bagalkot district, Karnataka. Likho. Believed to be the earliest Iron Age site of South India. Iron Age site of South India. Belonging to roughly 1000 BC. Next point. There is a distinct overlap. There is a distinct overlap of pottery with the Neolithic age. यानी कि the megalithic stage of the region of Hallur was a continuation of the earlier Neolithic phase, लेकिन universal नहीं था ये change, right? तो stages में हुआ. Some of the communities continued living in the Neolithic way of life with their own technology, with their own culture, including their own ceramic industry. लेकिन जो megalithic वाले थे, उन्होंने distinct type of pots बनाने शुरू कर दिए. Both of them were contemporaries. तो एक साथ दोनों टाइप्स के पॉटरीज मिलते हैं. नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट लिखो, फूड ग्रेन्स इंक्लूड मिलेट्स. फूड ग्रेन्स इंक्लूड मिलेट्स. एंड lentils. Next point. A large number of domesticated animal bones indicate the importance of pastoralism. Indicate the importance of pastoralism. Okay. This is Halur. Next, number 13. Nagarjunakonda. Location, Andhra Pradesh, on the banks of the river Krishna. Next point. Several megalithic burials, including cysts, megalithic burials including cysts, pit burials, urn burials have been found. Cysts, pit burials, and urn burials have been found. Next point. Partial skeletal remains of humans. Skeletal remains of humans found from various sites. Found from various sites. Such as skulls and ribs. Such as skulls and ribs. Ribs, RIBS. तो केवल स्कल और रिब मिला है कई सारी साइट्स में, बाकी बॉडी नहीं मिली है. नेक्स्ट मेन पॉइंट. Animal remains of domesticated and wild animals, including wolves, have been found. Wolf has been found. Next point. Gold and silver jewelry discovered along with female skeletons. Discovered along with female skeletons. ठीक है, ये हो गया नागार्जुना कोंडा. नंबर 14. वीरापुरम. लोकेशन, कुर्नूल डिस्ट्रिक्ट, आंध्र प्रदेश. क्या क्या मिला है यहां से, राइट डाउन. सेवरल सिस्ट बेरियल्स and cyst circles were found. Next point. Pottery, black and red ware. Next point. Tools, iron weapons and implements. Such as sickles, knives, pears. Next point, grains, rice, grains में rice, barley and pulses. Next point, animal remains, buffalo and pig. ये हो गया वीरापुरम. Next, number 15. Sannur. Sannur. Location, चिंगलपुट डिस्ट्रिक्ट. चिंगलपुट, चिंगलपट्टनम नाम हो गया अब उसका. चिंगलपुट डिस्ट्रिक्ट, CHINGLE, कोई भी डाल दो चलता है. CHINGLE PUT, तमिलनाडु. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो. It is a later site. It is a later site dated to roughly 200 BC. 200 BC. ठीक है. Next point, megalithic cysts and cairns. Megalithic cysts and cairns found in association with graves. Next point, association with graves. Next point, animal bones include domesticated and wild buffalo. Domesticated and wild buffalo. Tortoise shells and fish bones. Shells and fish bones. Next point, horse remains also discovered. Next point, unique discovery, iron bit. Iron bit. बिट एक इंप्लीमेंट होता है एनिमल्स को कंट्रोल करने के लिए, उनके माउथ में लगाया जाता है, राइट. BIT, बिट. आयरन बिट. ठीक है. दिस वाज सन्नूर. नेक्स्ट नंबर 16. हाँ 17. कोई बात नहीं. हाँ, पोरकलम. लोकेशन, Thrissur district, Kerala. Thrissur, Kerala. आगे लिखो, Thrissur district, Kerala. Megalithic burials include rock cut caves. with central pillars and memorial menhirs. Next point. Iron tools, black and red ware pottery, and etched beads, ETCHED, etched beads and pearls, etched ETCHED, etched beads and pearls have been discovered. Next main point. No megalithic settlement has been discovered anywhere in Kerala. तो केवल burial sites मिलते हैं, ठीक है? No megalithic settlements has been discovered anywhere in Kerala. Yeah, Porkalam. Number 17. क्या है ये? हर साल यूपीएससी पूछता है इसको. मतलब आई थिंक पिछले 5 सालों में 4 बार तो पूछ ही लिया होगा. आदिचा नल्लूर. लोकेशन ट्यूटिकोरिन और टुथुकुडी, TU TOOTHU KUDI, KUDI. टुथुकुडी डिस्ट्रिक्ट, तमिलनाडु. यहाँ पे क्या देखने के लिए मिलता है? अर्न बेरियल्स, राइट डाउन, अर्न बेरियल्स without any megalithic structures. Without any megalithic structures. Next point. Pit burials. Including 3-tiered burials. यहाँ पे 3 लेयर्स बनाए जाएंगे पिट्स के एंड हर में बेरियल्स होंगे, राइट? पिट बेरियल्स इंक्लूडिंग 3-tiered बेरियल्स. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट लिखो. पॉटरी, BRW. नेक्स्ट पॉइंट. metal ornaments or metal tools, metal artifacts, iron implements, and a few copper tools. Next, crops. Rice cultivation was happening because rice husk has been discovered. So write down discovery of rice husk, comma, charred millets and lentils. Next point. यहाँ पे एक यूनिक, इनफैक्ट 2 यूनिक डिस्कवरीज हैं. एक तो तमिल ब्राह्मी स्क्रिप्ट के अर्लीस्ट स्पेसिमेंस देखने के लिए मिलते हैं ऑन सम पॉट फ्रैगमेंट्स, ठीक है? राइट डाउन यूनिक डिस्कवरीज A and B. A. Earliest specimens of Tamil Brahmi script on pot shards. Earliest specimens of Tamil Brahmi script on pot shards. In pot shards, pot fragments. इन fragments को date किया गया है around 300 to 200 BC. So within brackets you can write 300 to 200 BC. Next, the point B. A fortification wall. A fortification wall has been discovered made of mud and stone. Made of mud and stone. You see, three large pottery kilns. Three large pottery kilns. Kiln, K-I-L-N, bhatti, have been discovered. Have been discovered. Three large pottery kilns have been discovered. ये हो गया अदिचानल्लूर. One more site जो इसमें मेंशन नहीं किया मैंने, located over here. ठीक है? So let us see if I can enlarge this. दिख रहा है ना? यहाँ पर over here. Mark this number 18. Ayampalli. देखो लोकेशन, वेल्लोर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, तमिलनाडु. आई थिंक डिस्ट्रिक्ट का नाम अब चेंज कर दिया, मतलब वेल्लोर को सब डिवीजन उसका कुछ अलग कर दिया है, कोई नया डिस्ट्रिक्ट, बट अर्लियर इट वाज द वेल्लोर डिस्ट्रिक्ट. तो अपडेट करना चाहें तो आप सर्च करके कर सकते हो. लोकेशन वेल्लोर डिस्ट्रिक्ट, तमिलनाडु. नेक्स्ट, a prominent iron site, a prominent iron site with a large variety of iron tools and weapons discovered here. Next point, the presence of iron slag indicates the existence of iron smelting, or indicates the practice of iron smelting. Indicates the practice of iron sculpting, smelting. Practice of iron smelting. Next point, grave goods include grave goods include iron objects, polished BRW pottery, rice husk, bones of buffalo, tortoise, fish, and waterfowl. Waterfowl, FOWL, water birds, waterfowl. Next point, wooden post holes, or sorry, wooden posts and post holes. Wooden posts and post holes indicate that it was a habitation come burial site. Habitation come burial site. ठीक है? Next point. Some of the large graves also have copper objects. Sorry, also have bronze objects. Also have bronze objects. तो ये हो गया पय्यमपल्ली. ठीक है? There is a question: why does Kerala have so few prehistoric sites unlike Tamil Nadu? Now that may be chalked up to the local geography and climate. Maybe the climatic and geographical conditions of the Western Ghats were not conducive for life during the prehistoric phases. That may be the reason. Okay. चलिए, so ये हो गया है हमारा मेगालिथिक